Captain! Over here!
The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. A non-trivial amount of gene editing. Clone, honestly, isn't even really the right term for our relationship, thanks to the amount of donor material that was required to bring me into this world. He and I are different on more than a few levels, but there's no denying the fact we're inextricably linked. He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The Freestar Collective and UC. Military. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle. Or if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, no telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out. It's hard to know exactly what might sway them. I'd just be honest about what you saw. A colony wiped out, and a lot of lives lost. Something we don't want anyone else to have to experience. That's actually a souvenir from my time on Mars. The Red Devils unit I was a part of, they were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to adversity. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything. The human eye included. Where the name Red Devils came from. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils had to do a stint in the mines before they could join up. The Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during my training, so as soon as I was... And the eyes were my parting gift. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the Chief Diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this Terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal as a result. But if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
It's a risk, but so is doing nothing.
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
I suppose that does get to the heart of the point, doesn't it? Very well. I consent. The galaxy was lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that?
Attention. Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown
If you have time, I've been thinking about some things. Wanted to talk to you about it.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
You! The EM rifle, grab it! Now!
Stop! We're trying to help you!
Please! I can't stop!
That's it. Now hit him with everything you've got.
Time to show off.
Lights out on that one.
Stop me. Please. Thank you for what you did. We didn't...
The way those people were acting. I've seen this before.
I don't know. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started fighting.
Pheromonic projection. Some terramorphs they can induce. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control. Turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like you kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire. And keep... Let's do it.
That's unlocked. Please, do what you can.
I've been thinking a lot about got me pretty into stuff. I found some of Irvin's last messages to me and thought I'd listen to them. It was surreal. So most of the messages were everyday things. Lots of excitedly written news. But one thing, in one of his messages, he mentioned this job that he took at a mine. He said something terrible was happening there. Precisely. And as a tech person, you also know that style of encryption was prone to... Well, Vasco helped me decipher it. Turns out the message was from Irvin. The message was short, but his voice was pained. Yes. Hearing his voice in so much pain was... So in this message, Irvin said he was being... He said they'll do it again. Yeah. His former employers at some job he took before he died. His former employer... Not exactly sure, but he mentioned a court case. It is, but I was thinking about it and, well... So I figured, hey, I can do some sort of a... There's gotta be a paper trail. Now, I happen to have a trustworthy contact who knows. I'd need to pay in advance in case there are any access fees. That works. I'll tell them to go ahead. You know, hearing Irvin's voice again made me want to help him. Even though I know I can't. I appreciate that. It's going to be hard to get some sleep. Hopefully poking around in old records doesn't catch the attention. Well, anyway. Lay it on me. Of course. See you later. Nat?
God, no time to waste, Captain. Stash the EM and pull some firepower. Let's move!
An evacuation order has been issued for the spaceport district.
It's not
All
real.
citizens are required to proceed to the nearest shelter.
You might back up. Don't just stand there. Ugh!
Okay, it's not real. Whatever you're experiencing right now is not real. We have to put down that door.
Save. Never save, never save. Never save. Watch it! It's got me! It's got me! Where are you?
Wait, officer? Are you and this woman experts? Take whatever we can get right now. We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad, but we're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, got one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
Heard you might be looking for some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here. But we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more...
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. Roger that. We're on you.
Stay sharp.
It's good to be home, right? Okay. Scan me.
colony!
Quit it! Please. Done this about
All wrapped up. We should go tell the sergeant what happened.
I don't want to even think about what would have happened had we failed. This was damn... heroic, Captain. Well, they don't need it now.
Thank the heavens you're back in one piece. Though I guess our people weren't so lucky.
The cabinet's already got a plan in place to make sure attacks like this never happen again.
Can't happen soon enough. Thank you. The city owes you both a debt after this.
We were just in the right place at the right time. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
We lost so many today.
Whole building's on lockdown.
That's a relief to hear. Thank you, Jim.
We're counting
Captain?
on you, Captain. Don't let my people sacrifice
Hadrian?
in vain.
It would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
The things we do here, it's quite the conundrum you two have uncovered. But we'll get to the bottom of it. I'll coordinate putting the data to good use with the Cabinet. We'll be ready to move as soon as you've got it.
Yes? What?
Chief Yassine, these orders. A Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the Cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you... And that means first getting you into the archives. You do...
It was a mutual agreement, but I suppose you touch on the spirit of it. So, you also know then that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun.
Now, the UC's already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective. Get them both, and you'll have your data. But that's a lot.
Very funny. This is going to be... Both ambassadors have reasons they won't... Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are up, though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Bal... Ah... The good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable.
I bet she loves her job.
Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, You're going to need to find a way in there without being seen.
Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you. Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over. But I can't make any...
Name's Cameron Long. He's younger than Ratcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the UC. He works closely with the ambassador, making him a promising source for information on the ins and outs, and someone who very... All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up, you're on your way. No.
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to...
Captain, would you like to... Ambassador Balmore's a challenge.
When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here.
He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval.
It's weird that we have to say that, but yeah. They're just regular people with different beliefs.
Of course. But there is another wrinkle. We're not 100% sure Balmore is actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting.
Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice.
It would at least be a speedier negotiation, but I, of course, hope the ambassador is...
Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you... Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, and fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. What?
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack...
Be smart out there, Captain.
Welcome back.
By the way, Captain, Sergeant Yumi was looking for you. Sounds like he's got more work.
Sorry, but I need sign-off from the Interstellar...
You our visitor? You'll find the ambassador in her office.
We've come a long way.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby.
Every day that we all keep talking is a day we should celebrate.
Terramorphs? As in more than one? All that security, and they still can't protect their own space.
It's good to be back at the
The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here? I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved me. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. Excuse me. A less level-headed person might think that was a threat, Captain. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance. I'm listening. I suppose you're right. Our job and our responsibility. And the archival monitors could ensure that's all you take. Huh, that would work. A step towards better relations. I could see some value there. Well, Captain, you make some good points. But if I'm really granting you access, I'm gonna need the Your access will be limited. We will be ensuring the monitors only permit you access to items related to stopping these terramorphs. You go in once, you get everything you need on your trip, and never again. And all research done with the data will be monitored. If this data is being used to save the galaxy needs to be involved in the oversight. Freestar scientists will watch your people like hawks. So, do we have an agreement? Excellent. Follow me.
Most times, entry to New Atlantis is seamless. But on occasion, you have officers who want to settle old grievances.
They tell me it should only take a moment. And there. Here, I'll reach out to Deputy McIntyre. We'll coordinate the necessary oversights. Two unlikely allies, I guess. People often mistake rivals for enemies. We don't have to like each other to do the right thing.
One day House Varun just up and abandoned their embassy. No idea why. Say what you will, but I bet House Varun knows how to party. Never gonna get their deposit back after this. All yours. right?
So, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the Great Serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks, and my apologies for the ordeal you just endured. Come, let us discuss. Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the Venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then... silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly? Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather than later. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. And the broadcast spoke of terror morphs at the space. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and... an archive code. So the UC requires information, then. On terror morphs, presumably, Do I see this all clearly? The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy. With little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Oh, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
You've got my word, too. I swear if this goes awry, there will be hell to pay.
Well then, I shall not fear. Please, follow me. Let's hope it still works. used for good.
What if we leave a few things here and make a second trip?
I will not have House Varun be known all. The affairs of House Varun are our own. They left. House Varun committed its... This was said at the time to be the desire of the Great Serpent, and I do not... So, when my brethren left, I remained. Honor.
Excuse, I might have some room. Right. Later.
Just doesn't add up. Spaceport has anti-xenophobe.
Captain, you're back sooner than... Oh, wait. Did you actually succeed? With Radcliffe? And Balmore? We're all in agreement. So the old man was still lurking around in there. Fine work, Captain. And now, I've already arranged everything with the archival monitors. When you get down there, the UC monitor will give you instructions on how to deploy the codes. Follow them to the letter. Here, the UC code piece and an archival access card. The entrance is just on the other side of the plaza across from Mast. Absolute best behavior down there, all right?
The chief is never going to approve this deal. Wonder if I can propose some alternatives.
Ah, Captain. Congratulations on joining the ranks of the Vanguard. Keeping the skies safe out? Stay safe.
Captain, Admiral Logan informed me of your part in halting the attacks. Whole damn city owes you. Now, what do you need?
Approach the monitoring station and we will go over the rules. Welcome, Captain, to the Archives. To proceed, you will need to deposit your codes into the 3 corresponding receptacles. Once they are verified, I will open the door. Your data resides in Unit 18. You will not be able to access any of the other units. Once you've collected your data, return to the entrance. You may insert the first of the archival codes when you're ready to begin.
There you are. Captain, Deputy told me what went down. Impressive work.
Captain, if you'd be willing to transfer the documents to the Major, she and I have been discussing what comes next.
Time for us to start getting some real answers, and figure out if we've been asking the right questions. So whenever you're ready. Acknowledged and accepted, Captain. So with the data out of the way, we've been discussing where exactly this work's getting done. The Red Devil's headquarters on Mars, back where you found Percival, seemed the natural spot. Already has the equipment, the safety measures. Though it sounded like the deputy had a few more things she needed to discuss with you first.
Indeed. The most important of which is getting you your citizenship.
Then I guess we'll see you on Mars.
Captain, if you'll follow me.
All right, Captain. Are you ready to become a citizen of the United Colonies? Good. This isn't the only item we need to discuss, so I'll give you the short version. Please raise your hand. Captain, through your actions today and in days past, you have earned your place among the United Colonies. Through service, bravery, strength, and upholding of the mutual good. Will you carry and cultivate these values for as long as you remain a citizen? Then, Captain, I'm pleased to welcome you into the United Colonies as a full citizen. Here, your official ID and your citizenship dispensation.
We've also let the Aphelion Realty office out in the plaza know you're approved to purchase property.
Now, the other item we needed to discuss. There's a member of the UC who's asked to speak to you, but this person is in a sensitive position.
Normally, we wouldn't even consider something like this, but we think this person has information that could prove useful in dealing with the Terramorphs. And they've stated they'll only share it with you. They asked for you by name.
So I need your agreement that everything you're about to see is kept in the strictest confidence. You can tell no one. Can you agree to these terms? Let's hope it never comes to that. Head to the elevator. You're going to subsection 7. I'll make sure you're cleared for access by the time you get there.
Howdy.
I knew a place like this had to exist. I just never thought I'd actually be in it.
Logging, authorized entry, unsealing access. You may proceed down the corridor. But there are no additional visitors permitted. Your friend's gonna have to wait out here.
chat. President Abeyo was kind enough to give me a few files to peruse. Quite the series of accomplishments you've managed. But now you face a foe unlike any other. An invisible enemy, lurking in the shadows. You're going to need all the help you can get, which is why I hoped we could speak. Do you know who I am? Perceptive. I like that. I'm Francois Sanon, but most know me as Victus. I was an admiral during the Colony War. One of its great villains, if you believe the slates. I was to be executed for my crimes, but the previous regime deemed me too valuable to simply discard. So they put me here, a sacrifice on the altar of peace. Even my death served the colonies. Captain, please. There are no clean hands in galactic politics. We all do what we must to keep ourselves safe. Which, right now, means finding a way to protect the United Colonies and beyond from additional terramorph attacks. An effort you and my progeny Hadrian have already made impressive progress on. And I'd like to help, though I am curious. Has she shared with you the nature of our little family? Did she? So, our relationship has always been. The Major was born to become a great leader, carry on the legacy I established, and was given all the finest training to support it. And she excelled. But the universe cut all that short. Now, though, it's placed even more crucial work in front of the two of you. And I think I have a part to play in helping you accomplish what you've set out to do. After some long years earning the trust of this current regime, the UC has been permitting me to work alongside one of their recovery teams, helping them gather intelligence on, locate, and organize scenarios to lure in some of the criminals that evaded justice after the Colony War. With quite a few successes, I might add. But in the process, I managed to find something else. The names and locations of Hadrian and Percival's old research team. Valuable manpower for the effort you're about to embark on. I'll tell you where they are, but in exchange, I need something dealt with. Well, who better to find them? But many of them I knew personally, and I've always had a mind for details. Worse, you'd be shocked how often an otherwise brilliant criminal flees to the planet just next to the one where they were born, or where a family member resides. I simply use my own personal knowledge and the information our group collects for me to track them down. There is a former colleague of mine, a man by the name of Dr. Reginald Orlaise. Like myself and Hadrian, he was involved in some of the United Colony's more problematic lines of research. Mech weapons were his specialty. If it dealt death, he could make a deal more. When the Colony War ended, he fled, refusing to face tribunal, and has continued to peddle his skills to the highest bidder. But I finally found him. I want you to track him down and deal with him. however you're able. I'm not expecting you'll come. Bring me evidence that the job's done, and I'll tell you what I know. You can certainly try, but the man's been out there 20 years. He's likely gone feral by now. Easier for all if you simply blow up his ship and be done with it. Speak to Deputy McIntyre. I'm sure she'd be happy to hear that someone might be tying up this loose end at long last. Though I would ask you, do not make the mistake of confusing me for a simple cutthroat. Captain, your files indicate a track record of unlikely successes. It is my genuine hope that, and this, might be something of a Good. According to my information, he's been hiding around the world of Etheria. Wolf System. There's a star station in the vicinity. The Den. The head of the local vanguard, one Captain Marquez, should be able to help you find our man.
Identity verified. You may proceed to the exit.
Never mind. Sorry. Thinking of something else. Yes, Captain. I'm beyond ready, Dusty.
Captain, did your meeting go well? I hope it's clear now why we needed... Captain, please, keep your voice down. The situation with the prisoner is a complex one. But it's a situation we've been managing as discreetly and the most critical part of that management is making sure no one else... Good. Because bringing this up to the outside world would create and that's not a good look for any of us. Now, was there something in particular? Dr. Reginald Orlaise? He's finally found him. Of course, killing Orlaise is completely out of the question. But bringing... That'd be a huge win for the UC. Oh. Really? He found the members of... We'd already initiated a search for them, but it'd save a lot of time and manpower if he just gave it. Captain, if that's the deal, you have my endorsement. Just so long as... Now, was there anything else you wanted to discuss regarding your meeting? The Den? It's a star station, orbiting Wolf. The first one was blown to smithereens by House Varun. The place has always acted as a remote strategic hub, primarily for... But because of its distance, I can think of worse places in the galaxy for... Trusting the man downstairs would be a mistake. This is far from the first name he's handed over in all previous missions, so while I'd certainly warrant caution...
Hey, so I'm really enjoying our time together. Thought you should know. It's been a long time since I worked with someone so closely. I didn't. And you haven't stopped me from looking into this stuff with Irvin either. See, that's what makes you a good captain in my book. On that note, I do have some news. So, I wanted to let you know that I heard back from my contact, and they sent me a copy of some public records. It's interesting. There was a claim filed against Irvin, accusing him of damaging their investments. Looks like Irvin didn't even enter a plea. The Hephaestus Mining Corporation, and they also won the case. He wasn't even on the planet for the duration of the trial. I think they scared him off. Anyway, this mining corporation, Hephaestus, sued Irvin, claiming he irreparably damaged their mine. They said he killed the apex predators in the area around the mine, which led to herd creatures overeating the grasses. That caused the soils to release too many gases too fast, which caused... Thank you. So, is this a cover-up? If so, of what? And why did it involve Irvin? So anyway, according to the court documents, there was a who was a no-show too. Then Hephaestus won by default. They tried to take his apartment, but because it's in my name too, they couldn't. They withdrew their testimony the morning of the trial. Said they had a sincere change of heart. Yes, they plan to stay in the same system for a while. I didn't know he bought it. Must have been a better deal than renting for the time he was there. Kinda. I had a mountain of back taxes to pay, and utility. It would have been far better for my pockets had I just donated it to the city. But I'm glad I didn't. So here's what I was thinking. I can persuade my contact to keep digging a little bit more. I don't want to press our luck, so I'll just ask them to follow up on one thing. Should I tell them to investigate the company more, or look into the witness instead? For that much money? They'll do it. You know, this investigation is time-consuming, but it's also pretty cathartic. And who knows? Maybe if we solve this case, it'll mean a better future for Gagarin. But that's thinking too far ahead. Anyway, Captain. What's new? Of course. Of course. Alrighty.
Hello. I am satisfied.
Hard to believe this place is still intact. But the military is nothing if not resilient.
By all.
Is there a type of weapon combat tech won't make?
Hi there, friend. Oh, it's... What can I do you for? Terrific. Let's... Careful out there.
How come talking about history makes people... Hey, good to see you again. Selection might not be... Long live the UC.
You know I went to chef school? This ain't exactly where I saw myself.
Once I found a ransacked bar on a derelict ship. By comparison, this is great.
Look who's back. You got something quick? Orlaise. Doesn't ring a bell. Seriously? Out here? Surprised they didn't send out a general notice he's in town. Though, I guess there's less a chance he bolts if they keep it hush. But I expect we would have heard something... Wait... The Warlock! There's been rumor of a ship out there for years now. Doesn't respond to hail. More than a few amateur investigators have tried to find it. And at least... Aetherius debris fields are plenty dangerous if you're not used to flying in them. But if you're suggesting it might not have been the fields that got them... Well... Can't think of a better spot you're Orlaise. Sure thing. Here. This should get you pointed. Go get your man.
Only a matter of time before I get promoted out of here.
Need some work done? Anything I can help you with? Okay, no problem.
Everything looks good at my station, Captain.
You're carrying a lot. You want to take a moment to shuffle things around?